A woman from Essex has made a plea for organ donors after being diagnosed with one of the world's rarest lung conditions.
I'm talking about thousands of successful organ recipients descended on Pittsburgh last week for the...
18 Americans die waiting for life-saving organ transplants.
People who got a second chance at life gathered for a celebration today.
Welcome back. Dr. Stephen Bailey is here. We're talking about new procedures in heart transplant surgery. Dr. Bailey is a heart transplant surgeon.
Organ donation is something we often see or hear about in the news or in adverts on TV. But how much do we actually know about the subject? The aim of this project is to design a resource that predominantly educates as well as promotes the idea of organ donation. Currently in the UK there are an estimated 10,000 people in need of a transplant. And yet, due to low numbers on the organ donor register, around 29% of the country's population, currently the lowest percentage in Western Europe, an average of 3 people a day will die waiting. Unlike some donation adverts that only seem to highlight the shortage and need for more donors, this project aims to offer a detailed insight into the science and practicality behind it. The concept behind this is that if the population are better informed as to how and why organ donation works, it will encourage them to engage more with the subject. Specifically, the project aims to target those aged between 18 and 25, although it could potentially target an even younger audience. Currently in the UK, there is an estimated 1 in every 1,000 people under the age of 30 in need of a transplant, and yet it's this same age group that have the lowest percentage on the organ donor register. This project should help raise those numbers. In order to create an effective promotional ad campaign, a line of research has to be undertaken to investigate why donor numbers are so low. Are the current ad campaigns adopting ineffective communication strategies? After a preliminary study into recent campaigns, many appear to employ one of two persuasion techniques, either using shock tactics to unsettle the viewer,
If someone you love was offered a life-saving organ, what would you do? Nothing? Nearly all of us would take an organ, but most of us put off registering as a donor. If you believe in organ donation, prove it.
or emotive imagery intended to promote feelings of guilt.
Clouds come and go, the rivers flow, millions of wheels go round and round, stars moving slow. When I see you, you're everything I know.
One argument could be that focusing more on the positive aspects of donating would be more effective than focusing on the negative consequences of not. A more psychological approach would be to consider why some people find discussing the inner workings of the human body an unsettling subject in the first place. In a society in which special effects in movies are becoming increasingly more realistic, and members of the public are subsequently exposed to imagery of blood and gore with scenes of horror, is this fear something that is learned? Therefore, could the media have damaged our views on organ donation, either through film?
I know you're scared. Don't be.
Restore my heart. Why not just let me die? They were keeping you alive to farm your organs.
It's alive!
Or maybe to extreme forms of advertising. So far, research has been carried out through questionnaires which were distributed to an audience of 21 participants, aged between 19 and 36. The questionnaires contained 10 questions concerning organ donation, aiming to gather information on individuals' current knowledge on the subject and how comfortable they find discussing the matter. From this, a range of data was collected. Firstly, it was found that 71% of participants are not currently on the organ donor register, from which 27% would not consider registering in the future. When asked for reasons, answers indicated that many felt they were either uneducated on the subject and therefore uncomfortable with the idea, or that they didn't have time to sign up. Next, when asked what they would be willing to donate, only 38% were willing to donate all their organs. Another 38% would donate some organs, and 24% were not willing to donate at all. This becomes of particular interest when compared to the fact that 95% of participants would, however, accept an organ donation if they needed one. Most importantly, when asked on a scale of 1 to 10 how knowledgeable they believe themselves to be on organ donation, 10 meaning very knowledgeable, 1 meaning no knowledge at all, the average score was a low 3.2. The results from these questionnaires, and research gathered so far, have proved to be useful in better understanding the target audience, and supports the project's theory that this age group could benefit from an educational resource in order to raise numbers on the donation register.